From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
The Alachua County Sheriff's Office SWAT team is gearing up for an annual competition. We'll take you inside their training camp.
And the Alachua County Animal Shelter is inching closer to becoming a no-kill facility. A look at the numbers a little later. Good evening. It's Thursday, November 5th. I'm Jenna Sands.
And I'm Connor Ingalls, filling in for James Torres. Thanks for joining us. On the eve of UF's homecoming, police are ready to execute their game plan for security. Laura Barrero joins us with some inside information.
Well, I spent the day talking to officers about their approach to parade security, and some details might surprise you. UF Homecoming arrives this year just a few weeks after an Oklahoma example of how bad things can go wrong. Dozens of casualties there were blamed on just a single drunk driver. Police here say they're ready.
The Homecoming Parade is one of the longest running traditions at the University of Florida. On average, 100,000 people attend. Gainesville police officers will line the route, and Alachua County Sheriff's deputies will walk in the parade handing out bracelets.
Still carrying the firearm because we're still on duty. So it's still something we still have our mindset still kind of in cop mode still, if I can say that.
The entire city transforms just for the Homecoming Parade.
These parking spots would normally be filled with cars, but they're temporarily closed for so many parade goers that are expected.
Last month, tragedy struck Oklahoma State's homecoming. A 25-year-old woman arrested for DUI is blamed for a crash that killed 4 and injured dozens.
So what the incident in Oklahoma did was just, we went back and looked at our procedures and our policies and try to figure out, is this appropriate? Could this happen to us? And if it does, how are we going to be able to handle it? And our procedures and our security plan that has been in place for many years is, we believe is adequate.
Because Gator Growl the night before is such a long-standing tradition, Gainesville has always had a focus on safety. Months before homecoming, several police departments in the area hold a meeting to plan for all the events.
Sometimes we have some of our youth gangs that decide that that's a good place to have some violence, around the parade route. But we do have our gang investigators are going to be out, both in uniform and undercover in the crowd. So there's going to be protection all around that you may not even realize is there.
The bottom line, GPD is ready if anything happens, but not worried about anything going wrong this weekend.
Tomorrow's parade at noon will follow the traditional route along University Avenue, but there are changes for the Gator Gallop, which will run from UF Soccer Stadium to Century Tower. You can get more information on our website, WUFT.org.
Thanks, Laura. We saw a few showers yesterday that seemed to come out of nowhere, and I hope this rain does not affect today's homecoming kickoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And UF forecaster Dan Henry joins us in the Weather Center with a look at the forecast. Dan, will we see any rain tonight?
Good news in that department, Connor. We're going to stay mostly dry across North Florida. Radar's already mostly cleared out, and the big difference tonight, or the big noticeable thing tonight, is going to be just how muggy and warm it is yet again. We're going to be challenging another record high low this evening of 69 degrees as our projected low. 89 was our high this afternoon. You can see those clouds thinning out already on my time lapse. Gorgeous weather to start off the evening, and the muggy temperatures will be noticeable early on, and some fog could form after 2 or 3 a.m. with temperatures slowly falling into the upper 60s. I'll talk all about your game day forecast as well as the whole homecoming weekend coming up in my full weather forecast. Connor and Jenna?
Thanks, Dan. After 10 years on the job, Gainesville City Manager Russ Blackburn turned in his resignation today. He referred to discord on the current commission, making it harder to be effective. This afternoon, the commission accepted his resignation and reviewed a basic game plan for amending his contract. Blackburn offered to stay a couple of months to help with the transition. This evening, the commission will discuss how to select an interim manager while a permanent search moves forward.
Matheson History Museum officials are taking a second look at the county's proposal to house a controversial Confederate soldier statue, but they have some conditions of their own they want met before they'll agree to take the statue. Museum officials recently turned down an offer to take the statue from the county, and Alachua County commissioners considered it a donation to move the Confederate memorial statue to the Matheson Museum. But museum officials were not aware of the decision until it was made and say the donation would have cost them too much.
And the board of directors was concerned this was a bit of a knee-jerk decision. Send the statue to a museum, it'll be out of our hands, it's not our problem anymore. Well, we won't spend any money to do it. And in reality, this is the county's problem.
Museum officials are now working on a plan that involves the county commission's help to raise money to move the statue. If the county agrees to help out financially, museum officials are already mapping out the best place to put the Confederate memorial. Their top choices are between the collection of flags on the side of the building or the Sweetwater Park directly behind the museum.
Burglars often find themselves in police stations, but it's not often that's where the burglary happens. Gainesville police officers were hosting a citizens academy when one of the participants had their iPad stolen. Officers reviewed the surveillance video and saw William Rossignol take the iPad. Rossignol was then found and arrested in a nearby parking lot. He admitted to the theft, and the iPad was returned to the owner at the station.
A new Stanford study finds students enrolled in online charter schools are not doing as well as those in traditional schools. It raises the issue of online courses in general and techniques for ensuring there is effective learning. WUFT's Allison Valdez has more on Florida's adoption of online courses.
Jenna, all secondary students in Florida are required to take one online class before graduation from high school, and college offerings continue to grow. So many students have strong options about the pros and cons of online learning.
A Stanford study concludes that online learning fails to match the teacher in the front of the class. Online students have to set their own pace and stay motivated. Staying focused is a challenge, so students may fall behind their classroom counterparts.
People underestimate the time commitment that's involved in an online course. They think they just have to log in once a week and watch a video. Courses are generally more demanding than that, and sometimes people fall behind.
The design of the course is also an important factor. Some online classes include more student-teacher interaction through group discussion and virtual conferencing. Experts say you also have to consider the reasons why students are taking online classes. Many are doing it during their senior year of high school as they approach graduation.
When I hear online classes, I just think credit recovery. I just think boosting my grades. That's what we all think whenever we hear FOBS. But overall, most people do not like it. They think it's a complete waste of time. They would much rather sit in the class and just do that.
Students have scheduled times where they come into e-school classrooms like this one to work on their online courses. That's a special lab at Buchholz. But for most Florida students, their first online class is at home through Florida Virtual School.
I believe that because the content is so very strong and rigorous that it promotes the learning, as well as our instructional model, a very personalized, customized approach. I don't see any downsides.
Florida actually requires students to take at least one online course in either middle school or high school. Experts say for students to do well in an online environment, they have to be present, participate, and stay motivated, just like they would in a traditional classroom. Reporting from the newsroom, Allison Valdez, WUFT News.
Thank you, Allison. An undercover investigation has led to the arrest of a St. Augustine man on drug charges. Investigators say Timothy Wrigley was traveling from St. Augustine to Putnam County to sell narcotic painkillers. Investigators say Wrigley sold pills to an undercover Putnam County detective, and Wrigley was arrested and is being held in the Putnam County Jail on a $50,000 bond. The mayoral race in Bradenton Beach shows every vote really does count.
And that a little luck can go a long way because a Florida statute says that when there's a tie, the outcome shall be determined by lot. So when the ballots for mayor were cast in Tuesday's election and the incumbent and former mayor each had 195 votes, it took an unusual tiebreaker to determine the winner. The supervisor of elections decided cutting a deck of cards would be least confusing.
We could have flipped a coin. They could have literally drawn straws. I suppose they could have played that paper, rock, and hammer, or whatever that is, scissors and hammer. So the Jack Clark was cut to 10 of clubs.
10 of clubs, and the former drew the ace of clubs. And with aces high, the former mayor became the mayor of Bradenton Beach again.
The annual SWAT Roundup International begins Sunday in Orlando. This week-long competition and vendor show attracts over 50 teams from all over the world to train and compete in various events.
And the Alachua County Sheriff's Office is participating once again. WFT's Tanya Barcelona joins us with the scoop in the studio.
That's right, Jenna and Connor, but this year is a little different. There's some area bragging rights on the line. But the SWAT team in Marion County took live fire this week. A reminder for Alachua County's team that this is vital training as well as competition.
In the annual SWAT Roundup, 4 events involve snipers, rifles, and gas rounds, while the last event is an obstacle course.
First time I competed, I was very, very nervous.
Marvin Gunn competed for ASO the past few years at the international competition in Orlando.
The big thing is you don't want to let your teammates down. You know, it's not necessarily letting yourself down, it's letting the guys down. that you work with and you see every single day, and they're dependent on you. That's what this competition's about, is camaraderie and your teammates.
Alachua County finished 4th last year, just behind Marion County, which adds motivation to this year's training.
I think it's healthy to have competition. It helps you strive to do better. There may be friendly discussions back and forth between the teams of who's going to do better in what events, but overall it's just for all of our improvement, but we get a little competitive.
On the final day, teams participate in an obstacle course event, much like this one here, but their eyes are set on a goal much higher than the heights they're climbing. They know these skills are vital when lives are on the line. Just this week, the Marion County SWAT team came under fire while making a drug bust.
We also have debriefs of other critical incidents that have happened in the past, and it just kind of drives home the point that this is important. This is something that we need to do because real things happen out there.
During next week's competition, the teams will have opportunities to learn more skills.
So there's mandatory training that we have to attend each year, put on by gentlemen with far more experience than I have, just to improve all our skills and just our overall knowledge of SWAT operations.
The ASO team has already put in over 100 hours of training in just the past 2 weeks to tune up for the roundup. This year, the Alachua County SWAT team hopes to take home first place like they did in 2013. Tanya Borsellino, WUFT News.
Thank you, Tanya. WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, the Alachua County Animal Shelter is striving to become a no-kill facility.
Plus, a new drink created by University of Florida doctors may one-up Gatorade. Those stories and more coming up after the break.
I've got your full weekend forecast with all the events for homecoming, plus the 3 big things you need to know about after the break.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Alachua County is still striving to become a no-kill animal facility.
And euthanasia numbers have gone down, and in February, the Wagmore Foundation donated $1.3 million to rescue groups to help save more animals. WUFT's Taylor Trichet joins us live from the newsroom. Taylor?
That's right, Jenna and Connor. Back in 2000, the number of animals euthanized was more than 8,000. And since then, those numbers have dropped drastically, with less than 600 animals euthanized this year to date.
The Wagmore gift is helping find homes for cats and dogs like these at the Humane Society. Most of them had been on the kill list at the Alachua County Animal Services, but were moved here to give them another chance at adoption. The Humane Society and Animal Services have formed a partnership with a common goal of making Animal Services a no-kill facility by the end of 2015. And so far, they are close to their goal.
Mostly the way that rescue groups and shelters tend to use no-kill is less than 10% of animals being euthanized for space or for health reasons. But when you call yourself no-kill, you're primarily only having to euthanize high-risk, unhealthy, untreatable illnesses or behavior.
Animal Services is only 3% away from that 90% mark, but a recent influx of animals at the facility is making that goal harder to reach.
We had somebody that wanted to surrender 14 kittens, and I explained to them that yeah, they're kittens and they're cute, they're fluffy, we may not wind up euthanizing them, but it may cause us to euthanize other animals that have been here longer.
In order to help out with overcrowding at Animal Services, ACHS pulled 8 cats from them this morning.
The Wagmore gift is also helping other rescue groups take in more animals and pay for vet costs and foster care expenses. And organizations like the Humane Society are able to help take more animals off the kill lists.
From us, we can save more animals. So it's kind of like saving 2 lives. You adopt an animal from us and then you make space to bring in another.
Officials say once they reach their no-kill number in Alachua County, they plan to reach out to other rescue organizations to help reduce euthanasia rates in other counties. Reporting from the newsroom, Taylor Trichet, WUFT News.
Thanks, Taylor. Turning to health and medical news.
Daniel Prince joins us now with our weekly dose of news you can use.
Tonight we start with a breakthrough that may save many babies' lives. The side effects of diarrhea, like dehydration, can cause about 2,000 infant deaths a year, and researchers at the University of Florida have been fine-tuning ways to rehydrate young patients. Dr. Sam Cheng says his research team has developed a drink more effective than Pedialyte and Gatorade when it comes to dehydration from diarrhea. The drink is designed to get the body absorbing fluids again.
So Gatorade just provides some buy some time for you to recover. So we are now trying to develop a new solution to actively stop the diarrhea. So you don't need to suffer anymore.
As far as Pedialyte goes, Dr. Cheng says it can help hydrate, but it does not stop diarrhea. UF has already patented the new drink, and studies are about to move from rats to clinical trials among children. Another medical creation is making people hopeful, but this development involves fighting obesity. A gastric balloon called Ellipse comes in the form of a pill and is attached to a thin catheter. Once the pill is swallowed, the balloon is filled with a fluid to inflate to about the size of an apple. It stays inflated for 4 months before naturally dissolving. Patients feel full sooner, and a test group lost an average of 22 pounds in 4 months. The device has not yet been approved by the FDA. There's a hospital in Washington where mishaps are welcome. It's a simulation center preparing medics for overseas deployment. The inside of an old hospital room was transformed into a simulated battlefield with all fake patients. Just like a flight simulator, the trainees are given all sorts of complications to learn how to deal with, even birth. It's the last place combat medics go before heading overseas. A new study is leading researchers to believe siblings of children with food allergies are not necessarily allergic themselves. Blood testing on 1,100 siblings revealed 53% had food sensitivity, but only 13% had an actual allergy. That's why experts say testing a child before introducing a high-risk food is not recommended. Instead, allergy testing should only be used to confirm a diagnosis. You know, for many mothers with children that may have peanut allergies, this is great news because now they don't need to worry about the other child having those allergies as well.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because Connor actually has a peanut allergy.
I do. I know your first question is, have I had Reese's? I have not, but my sister has. She doesn't have an allergy, so it makes a lot of sense.
It's perfect.
Thanks, Danielle. It's definitely not feeling like November outside with this warm weather we've been having.
Yeah, it definitely feels like summer. UF forecaster Dan Henry joins us now from the Weather Center. Dan, will we see some cooler weather before this game this weekend?
Not before the game, Jenna, but not long after the game. We do have our next cool front, so to speak, moving through, and by Sunday on into Monday, we'll be back closer to more normal temperatures. Here's Storm Track Radar. One more look at some of those little itsy-bitsy popcorn cells out there. Along the first coast, I could see a couple showers tonight, but overall, I think we're in for a dry finish here across North Florida. Those temperatures are going to actually challenge our record high minimum temperature of 69 degrees back. That was back in the 60s that we set that, but 68 is our projected low for this evening. Some patchy fog expected later on this evening, but your 3 big things that I want you to know about, that summer in November is one of them. The highs in the 80s, lows near 70 through Saturday, and then that cool front approaches. Some showers possible later on Saturday, especially in the evening hours on into Sunday and Monday. And then after that front pushes through a little bit, the humidity will come down. It's not going to give us a huge change in our pattern, though. We're still going to be above normal on our lows. Here's our projected lows Friday morning, 68, rather balmy out there still, 70 Lake City. It's remarkable how much and how long that we've been well above normal in this really crazy weather pattern. Fog tracker is showing some fog developing in low-lying areas, especially again after 2 or 3 o'clock. It's going to be mostly confined to low-lying areas. I'm looking at the Suwannee River Valley, Paynes Prairie on I-75 and out there. So just be careful if you're headed out in the roadways early, but the sun will burn most of that off pretty quickly. 90 degrees projected high for Ocala. I can't hardly believe it. But the good news is dry, even if it is well above normal. 84, sunny and dry for your for the parade tomorrow at noon, and by Gator Growl in the evening. The humidity will be again more noticeable after the sun sets, and we usually have those dew points go up just a little bit. And then the game on Saturday, there's a 20% spotty chance during during the game, but I am not expecting widespread coverage, okay, because our frontal boundary that we're looking at isn't going to move through until later on and on into Sunday. So here's a look at future track. There's a little bit of a what we call a shortwave front trying to make its way our way, a little bit of moisture associated with that out ahead of that. That could bring us some showers early. It won't be a washout though, so you're all in the clear for your tailgating and then also after the game as well. But then by later on Saturday on into Sunday, notice that front pushing through, eventually bringing us greater rain chances for on into Sunday and Monday. So I've tried to reflect that in your 6-day outlook here. Spotty after 3 p.m. on Saturday, high near 88. So be careful, use some precautions, drink fluids out there at the game. 60% chance of rain showers are likely on Sunday. 79 degrees for our high temperature. Well, back near normal. You notice our average for the year is about 77 during this time. And then breezy with some showers on Monday as that front pushes through. You'll notice some gusty winds and some showers off and on. Tuesday and Wednesday, we warm back near normal.
Thanks, Dan. With all the hype surrounding the Florida football team and the start of basketball season, there's one Gator team flying under the radar.
The SEC regular season champion Florida soccer team got their SEC tournament started last night. Sports anchor Ben Murphy joins us now.
Well, Florida soccer knew that they were going to have a true test in Vanderbilt last night, and they were right. When I get back, I'll break down the game against the Commodores, one that went all the way down to the wire. Florida first-year head football coach Jim McElwain has started his year off right with 7 wins in his first 8 games. But there's another new kid on the block who's ready to make his coaching debut in Gainesville tonight. Welcome back to sports. I'm Ben Murphy. Lace them up and hit the hardwood. Florida basketball is back, this time exhibition style against Palm Beach Atlantic. First-year Gator head coach Mike White begins his journey in the O'Connell Center tonight at 7 o'clock. Coach White will have more than just big shoes to fill. He must replace one of the all-time greats in Billy Donovan. 19 years, 467 wins, and 2 national titles for Donovan leaves White with a tough act to follow. Projected starting lineup for Florida tonight will be John Egbunu, Dorian Finney-Smith, Devon Walker, Casey Hill, and freshman Kevon Allen. Orange Beach, Alabama, site of the 2015 SEC soccer tournament, and it was the regular season SEC champion Florida Gators who had a close call last night. Gator head coach Becky Burley and her team had a date with Vanderbilt in the tournament's quarterfinals. Early first half action, Vanderbilt's Simone Charlie sneaks it in. Really not sure how that one found the back of the net, but either way, it's 1-0 Commodores. Trailing by 1, it's the SEC's leading scorer, Savannah Jordan, who tips it in, says nothing to worry about there, deflects the rip from Maggie Doherty-Howard and ties this game up at 1. Still tied in the 75th minute, it's Kristen Westfall. Sends it in. Yeah, go ahead and throw it to the 6-foot-tall Pam Begich, who does the rest with her head. Puts it in the back of the net, gives Florida a close 2-1 victory. Florida matches up against Auburn Friday at 4:30 in the tournament's semifinals. 2 consecutive years, Florida football has found a way to lose their homecoming game. If you can remember, 2 years ago, it was Vanderbilt who marched into the swamp and stunned the Gators on homecoming. Things are different now, and it's going to be different for both teams. Both schools have a new head coach, and it's Florida who controls their own destiny in the conference. Vanderbilt sits 5th in the SEC, owning a 1-3 conference record. No matter the record, Jim McElwain says Vanderbilt head coach Derek Mason will have his team ready on Saturday.
You know, I look at it as to what he's done since he's taken over and how hard these guys play with the focus throughout every game. Just look at where they've been at the end of those ball games, opportunities to win. And that's a credit to him and what he's done.
This Saturday is November 7th, 2015, 11/7/15. And for many, those numbers might ring a bell. If you haven't caught on yet, those are the numbers of Florida's 3 Heisman Trophy winners: Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, and yeah, some guy named Tebow. If you need to fix your football craving, there are a couple big-name college teams in action. Former offensive coordinator and now Mississippi State head coach Dan Mullen has his Bulldogs in the state of Missouri for a showdown with the Tigers. Missouri has dropped 3 straight games coming into tonight, and if you haven't been able to see the 6th-ranked Baylor Bears play this season, now's your chance. They face off against Kansas State tonight at 7:30. Those games will share the Thursday spotlight with an all-Ohio NFL showdown. The Cleveland Browns will take on the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals tonight at 8:25. Well, 1 is the loneliest number. Just ask the Orlando Magic, who have only won 1 game so far this season. 2 can be just as bad as 1, but Orlando desperately wanted that second victory Wednesday night against the Rockets. Let's cut to the chase. With 1 second left in the game, Orlando's Evan Fournier at the line with a must-make. Yeah, he's got ice in the veins. We're going to overtime. In overtime, it was all James Harden who scored 7 of Houston's 9 OT points en route to a 119-114 win. Next up for O-Town will be the Raptors Friday night at home. And I hope you guys are ready to rise and shine Saturday morning. Homecoming game for Florida will be at noon, the first noon game for the Gators this year.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys don't like playing at noon. It's going to be important to see how Florida comes out. They might play a little flat with this being their first nooner.
Yeah, not only are the players not looking forward to it, I know the fans have got to be dreading this, especially with the heat that we're expecting on Saturday. Thanks, Ben. And before we go, one last check on the weather.
Here's Dan.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We are looking at nice, dry conditions for this evening. Temperatures are going to be the noticeable part, though. We're well above normal yet again. Notice storm track radar with no storms to track. Good news for those of us looking to get outside. Our hour by hour looks pretty nice as well. We're falling gradually into the upper 60s to near 70. Our record low for the evening is 69, so we'll be challenging that. And when we have muggy conditions and light variable winds at low levels, we often do have fog form. So be careful as you head out later on this evening, as we are expecting some patchy fog, especially in low-lying areas between around 2 a.m. and when the sun comes up, and it will do its job tomorrow. We're going to warm up yet again. Sunny and dry conditions for the parade. You have forecaster Rebecca Kopelman will be out emceeing there, and then mild and humid for Gator Growl. And then, yeah, there's some spotty showers possible for the game, but most rain will hold off until after game time. So some good news there. Connor and Jenna, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. We'll be back tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.
And here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is coming up next, and the PBS NewsHour is up at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.